A flawless suburban residence conceals a sinister secret that threatens to destroy a family. Jessica Harper, a dedicated school counselor, is beset by increasing tension in her picture-perfect existence. In their stunning Richmond home, her daughter's silence and her husband's domination throw ominous shadows. A mother's instinct provokes a desperate quest for the truth, one that will change everything she believes. This is a tale of love, fear, and being brave enough to face what's hidden. In a quaint Richmond, Virginia, suburb in 2025, the Harper family's two-story house was a beacon of perfection. Its red brick facade, white window trim, and colorful flower gardens bloomed in spring, summer, fall, and winter. Neighbors admired the manicured front yard, dubbing it a picture-perfect paradise. Behind the closed door, Jessica Harper stood at the kitchen island, student files laid out in front of her. At 38, her petite features and warm eyes conveyed a quiet strength, forged through a decade working as a counselor at Lincoln High School. Her students trusted her with their deepest struggles, and she bore their stories carefully. "Stop taking work home," James Harper's deep voice broke through her daydreaming. James, a 40-year-old real estate developer, made an imposing figure with his 6'2" stature and bespoke suits. His success and charm made him a local star, but his tone carried a sharp edge. Jessica forced a smile, stacking her files. "Just prepping for tomorrow's meetings." James leaned against the counter, swirling a glass of whiskey. "You're too soft, Jess. You waste too much time on those problem kids." Jessica stayed silent, her heart sinking. James never understood why she poured her soul into her students. "Where's Lily?" he asked, his voice flat. "In her room, most likely doing her homework," Jessica replied, her voice light but guarded. James scowled, his face furrowing. "Always hiding. She's been distant lately. Go check on her." Jessica paused, her fingers clenching on a file. "She's 15, James. She needs to be left alone." "There is no alone in this house," James snarled, his tone icy. "Go check her out. Now." Jessica nodded, swallowing her discomfort to avoid a confrontation. She'd always thought it was her job to keep the peace, even at the cost of stifling her own voice. Lily's door was shut, the dim light of illumination pushing through underneath. Jessica knocked lightly. "Lily, may I enter?" There was no reply, so she pushed the door open gently. In the darkening room, Lily was on her bed, wearing a simple hoodie and sweatpants. Her reddish-brown hair lay across her face as she sat with her phone, immediately blackening the screen when Jessica stepped in. "Are you all right?" Jessica asked, her tone soft but concerned. Lily huddled in closer, concealing her face. "My stomach aches," she grumbled. Jessica sat on the edge of the bed, her heart weighing heavy. "That's 3 days now. Do you have a fever?" She put out her hand to touch Lily's forehead, but Lily jerked away. "No fever. Just don't feel well. Want some soup?" Jessica asked gently. "I can warm some up." Lily shook her head minutely. "Not hungry." Jessica glanced around the room, her chest constricting. The walls, which used to be painted with bright posters and pictures of friends, were empty now. Lily, once a chatty teenager, had transformed in the last few months. Silent, introverted, her fire extinguished. Her grades had fallen, her friends had moved on, and her room had turned into a fortress. "How was your history test?" Jessica asked, attempting to reach out. "Got a C," Lily grunted, her tone lifeless. "A C. You aced history," Jessica stated, alarm creeping into her voice. "What's happening?" "Don't know," Lily shrugged. "Couldn't concentrate." Heavy footsteps resounded down the hallway, and Lily's body stiffened. James stood in the doorway, arms folded, his presence dominating the room. "Sick again?" he asked, his voice laced with irritation. Jessica gazed up at him, her voice steady but authoritative. "Her stomach's been hurting for days." "Teenage drama," James stated, his eyes frosty. "She's just avoiding her bad grades. Don't pretend to be sick to avoid going to school." "James, she really isn't feeling well," Jessica pleaded. Enough, James interrupted her, his voice firm. Don't coddle her. When I was her age, I attended school with a fever. He glared at Lily. You go tomorrow. Get it? Lily nodded weakly, her face to the wall. Jessica placed a hand on her daughter's shoulder, but Lily remained unmoving, silent. Once James departed, Jessica stroked Lily's hair softly. If you're really hurting, I can take you to a doctor. Dad won't let you, Lily breathed softly, her voice shaking. Jessica's heart groaned, seeking words. We could go without telling him. Lily's eyes turned away, empty. The light Jessica once knew diminished. It's fine. Just a stomach ache. Jessica's gut screamed that this wasn't just a stomach ache. Lily's eyes were heavy with sadness, a fear she couldn't speak. Tell me anything, Jessica whispered, her voice so low. There is nothing to tell, Lily said, turning away. Just leave me alone. Jessica walked out of the room, her footsteps heavy, her mind reeling. Downstairs, James was in the living room, the television blaring the news. He had entered their lives 5 years ago, after Jessica's first husband, Michael, had passed away in a car accident. James had brought stability with him, adopting Lily 2 years later. At first, their relationship had seemed sound, but something had changed. Lily's rebelliousness, James's increasing sternness. Jessica had attributed it to teenage rebellion, but now her intuition said something was more sinister at work. James looked at her, his eyes icy. No doctor. It's money wasted on her illnesses. Jessica nodded, her throat constricted, not wanting another fight. The following morning, she watched from the window as Lily climbed onto the school bus. Lily's shoulders hunched, her complexion pale, her breakfast untouched on the plate. Was sending her off to school the right thing? Jessica whispered, her voice little more than a breath. Of course it was, James said, materializing behind her in his pressed suit, prepared for a 3-day business flight. Coddling her weakens her. Toughness requires discipline. Jessica nodded wordlessly, understanding that a challenge would ignite a battle. Take care of Lily while I'm away, James instructed, his voice tight. Make sure her phone is checked. Be aware of what she's doing. Jessica felt sick inside with his insistence on violating Lily's privacy. I will, she replied, her voice empty. When James had gone, Jessica went to Lincoln High School, her thoughts burdened. In the school counselor's office, her friend and co-worker, Emily Torres, smiled at her. Jess, you look tired, Emily said, her tone filled with worry. Up late with case files. Jessica managed a tired smile. No, it's Lily. I'm worried. They moved to a quiet corner of the office, away from other staff. Jessica poured out her fears. Lily's falling grades, her lost friendships, her constant illnesses. James says it's all for attention, Jessica said, her voice low. He won't let me take her to a doctor. Emily's eyes darkened, her voice firm. That's not right, Jess. Her health comes first. She's got nausea, stomach pain, no appetite, Jessica said, tears welling. And her eyes, there's no life in them. Emily took her hands, her voice steady. You've helped so many kids as a counselor. Now help your own daughter. Trust your instincts. Jessica's tears spilled, Emily's words echoing her own fears. James is gone for 3 days, Emily said, her tone serious. Take Lily to a doctor. It's your right as her mom. That afternoon, Jessica called Lily's school, pulling her out early for a medical issue. Mom, what's happening? Lily asked, her eyes wide as Jessica waited at the school entrance. We're going to the doctor, Jessica said, her voice firm with resolve. Lily glanced around nervously. But Dad? Dad's away, Jessica said, her tone unwavering. Your health comes first. A flicker of something, relief maybe fear, crossed Lily's eyes then faded. She nodded silently and climbed into the car. Jessica took Jessica to St. Mary's Medical Center in a neighboring town, staying away from where James's contacts could spot them. Her fingers quivered as she gave her insurance card to the attendant at the reception desk. Miss Harper, something wrong? The gentle face of a young doctor, Dr. Sarah Nguyen, concerned her. Lily looked at Jessica, her voice barely audible. Mom, may I speak with the doctor by myself? Jessica's heart pinched, a blend of pain and anxiety constricting her chest. But she nodded, forcing a smile. Of course, sweetheart. I'll be outside. In the waiting room, Jessica's pulse raced, her mind spinning with possibilities. What was Lily hiding? Why couldn't she speak in front of her own mother? Jessica Harper sat alone in the waiting room of St. Mary's Medical Center, her heart pounding. Thoughts of drugs, alcohol, or worse swirled in her mind, each possibility more terrifying than the last. Her hands shaking, she clasped her purse, anxiously awaiting news of her daughter Lily. 45 minutes passed before the door to the examination room opened. Dr. Sarah Nguyen emerged, looking grave, her eyes etched with worry. Lily followed, her eyes puffy and red from crying, her auburn hair covering her face. Ms. Harper, said Dr. Nguyen, her tone steady but assertive. I have to talk to you. We have to do some tests on Lily. Jessica's chest constricted, her voice trembling. Tests? What type? Blood work and an ultrasound, Dr. Nguyen replied, hesitating as if censoring her words. Jessica's gut plunged, a chill of fear spreading through her. An ultrasound. Is something wrong? Dr. Nguyen's face remained professional, but her eyes warmed. We won't be able to tell until the results are back. We can get them tomorrow night. Can you come back then? Jessica looked over at Lily, who gazed at the floor, silently sobbing. Of course, Jessica said, her voice resolute. Whatever Lily needs. The car ride home was heavy with silence, the hum of the engine filling the void. Jessica opened her mouth to speak, but no words came. Mom, Lily said suddenly, her voice trembling. I'm scared. Jessica pulled the car to the side of the road, her heart breaking. She wrapped her arms around Lily, holding her tightly. It's okay, sweetheart, she whispered, her voice steady despite her fear. I'm here. We'll face this together. Lily sobbed into her mother's shoulder, her body shaking. Jessica rubbed her back, her mind racing with worry but firm with resolve. She vowed to be strong, no matter what truth awaited. At home, Lily retreated to her room, closing the door behind her. Jessica prepared dinner, her hands moving mechanically as she chopped vegetables. Her mind whirled. Tomorrow's trip to the hospital needed to be done before James got back from his business trip. His domineering personality threatened to overshadow her, and she dreaded how he would react. The following afternoon, Jessica completed her final counseling session at Lincoln High School. The clock struck 3:45 p.m., and her heart began racing. James would phone at 5 o'clock. She needed to be home with Lily beforehand. Jessica, you all right? Emily Torres, her friend and co-worker, asked, her voice kind. Jessica let out a breath, her hands gripping her bag. I don't know, Emily. We're finding out today. Emily placed a hand on her shoulder. No matter what, I'm here. Call me if you need something. Jessica nodded, thanks, calming her nerves, and sped to the parking lot. Lily stood at the school entrance, her face whiter than the previous day, her shoulders drooping. In the car, Lily gazed out the window, speechless, her breathing unsteady. Jessica was desperate to talk, to console her, but words refused to emerge. She began the car, the purring of the engine filling the strained silence. At St. Mary's Medical Center, the parking lot was chillier, the white walls of the hospital harsh against the evening sky. Lily's breathing became jagged as they pulled up, neither of them shifting to leave. Lily, Jessica told her, turning to her daughter, her words gentle but firm. I don't know what's going on, but I assure you this. I love you and I will do everything to protect you. We'll face this together. Tears welled in Lily's eyes, her lips shuddering. She tried to talk but only nodded, her silence weighed down by fear. The hospital inside smelled of disinfectant, the bright lights unkind. They were taken to Dr. Nguyen's office, where the physician stood, her expression somber. Ms. Harper, Lily, have a seat, she said, indicating chairs across her desk. A heavy silence pervaded the room, the atmosphere thick with unwritten truths. Dr. Nguyen glanced at her computer screen for an instant, then breathed deeply. The test results have come in, she said, speaking in a composed but concerned tone. She hesitated, her eyes locking with Lily's, then Jessica's. Lily is pregnant, around 12 weeks. Jessica's universe came to a standstill, a cry ripping itself from her lips before she could silence it. The room whirled, the roar of her own heart drowning out all else. No, she whispered, her voice barely her own voice. That can't be possible. Lily buried her face in her hands, leaning forward, her weeping convulsing her slight body. Jessica held her close, her own shivering, her head spinning. How? When? Ooh. I realize this is a shock, said Dr. Nguyen softly. This is a challenging situation, particularly at Lily's age. Who? Jessica croaked, trying to speak. Who did this to you, Lily? Lily's wails became more pronounced, her face buried, unable to speak. Dr. Nguyen rose, her tone soft but authoritative. Let's go into another room, Ms. Harper. A nurse will remain with Lily. Jessica nodded, numb, her arms still wrapped around her daughter. A nurse came in, putting a gentle hand on Lily's shoulder. Jessica was led by Dr. Nguyen to a tiny consultation room, her legs unsteady. The door shut behind them, and Dr. Nguyen stood in front of her, her face stern. Take a deep breath, she said, her voice calm. Jessica breathed in shakily, her fists clenched. In circumstances such as these, there are alternatives, Dr. Nguyen went on. There is still time to make up your mind, but Lily's well-being comes first. Jessica's voice cut through her shock. I don't get it. She hardly goes outside. No boyfriend, just school and home. Dr. Nguyen's voice was gentler, her eyes heavy with sympathy. My conversation with Lily made me concerned. I have summoned a social worker to speak with her again. A social worker? Jessica replied, ice entering her veins. Why? There could be a problem legally, Dr. Nguyen said tactfully. Jessica's heart raced, a horrifying thought surfacing. Was she raped? Her voice trembled, barely audible. Dr. Nguyen didn't answer directly, her expression guarded. Social worker Laura Bennett is here. She'll talk with Lily, then we'll discuss together. Jessica was left alone in the room, her legs shaking, her mind a storm of fear. 10 minutes dragged like hours, each second filled with terrifying possibilities. The thought of Lily's pain, her silence, her fear tore at Jessica's heart. A knock came and a woman entered, her face calm but serious. Ms. Harper, I'm Laura Bennett from Child Protective Services, she said, sitting across from Jessica. Lily's safe with Dr. Nguyen. What's happening? Jessica asked, her voice trembling. This is hard to hear, Laura said, her tone gentle but firm. You'll need strength. Jessica nodded, bracing herself, her hands clenched tightly. I spoke with Lily, Laura said. She was reluctant, but I told her we need the truth to protect her. She has told me she's been sexually assaulted for approximately a year. Jessica's world shattered, her breath stuck. A year? She shook her head, with disbelief choking her. By whom? Teacher. A coach. Laura took a deep breath, her words steady but weighted. Your husband, James Harper. Jessica's eyes fogged, her heart racing as she shook her head with vehemence. No, that cannot happen. He's her father, he adopted her. He wouldn't do that. Laura's eyes were gentle but firm. Children don't lie about such serious accusations, particularly with detailed descriptions. Jessica's voice cracked, raw with agony. Why didn't she tell me? Lily didn't want to hurt you, Laura replied quietly. She told me James threatened her, saying nobody would believe her and it would kill you. She wanted to spare the family. Jessica's breast seethed with guilt and anger, her body shaking in anguish. Tears poured down her face, her inability to guard Lily shattering her. We have to inform the police, Laura asserted, her tone strong. Lily's well-being comes first. James is away on a business trip, Jessica declared, her tone robotic. He returns tomorrow. Jessica Harper's heart pounded as she sat in the tiny consultation room at St. Mary's Medical Center. The social worker's words replayed in her mind. Your husband, James Harper. Reality about Lily's abuse disintegrated her world, but something burnt bright. She must keep her daughter safe. Good, Laura said, her tone firm but gentle. You and Lily must have a safe haven. Do you have relatives or friends you can go to? Jessica remembered her friend Emily Torres, her bright smile alight in the chaos. Yes, I do, Jessica affirmed, speaking firmly despite shaking hands. Perfect, Laura replied, smiling kindly. You will have a police officer take your statements and Lily's. Then you'll be relocated to a safe place. A warrant for James's arrest will be issued. Jessica's head reeled, but determination strengthened. She saw James's true nature now. His control, his coldness, and her maternal instincts surged. Let me see Lily, she said, standing, her voice steady. Laura led her back to Dr. Nguyen's examination room. Lily sat hunched in a chair, her eyes red and swollen, her auburn hair falling over her face. When Jessica entered, Lily flinched, her body tense with fear. Lily, Jessica said, her voice breaking, tears welling in her eyes. I'm so sorry, sweetheart. I didn't keep you safe. Lily cried, her voice childlike. I wanted to warn you, Mommy, but I was afraid. Jessica swept her into a close hug. They held each other tightly, crying together, no words necessary. Their embrace contained love, remorse, and a vow to mend. It's all right now, Jessica whispered, running fingers through Lily's hair. Nobody will ever hurt you again. I'll take care of you. Jessica awoke the next day in Emily's guest room, dazed by the soft morning light. Lily slept next to her, her face serene but pale. The events of the previous night flooded back. The evening at the police station, Lily's testimony of pain, Jessica's own revelations concerning James's conduct. She'd told them about his strictness, his disregard for Lily's suffering, the clues that she hadn't seen. I should have seen it, Jessica whispered, her voice weighed down by guilt. Why didn't I notice? Don't blame yourself, Emily said, standing in the doorway with 2 coffee mugs. She handed one to Jessica, her eyes warm with concern. Did you sleep? Jessica shook her head, her voice soft. Bits and pieces. Lily was worn out, she's still out. Emily sat on the edge of the bed, her voice gentle. The police phoned. James got arrested in Chicago this morning, at his business conference. Jessica took a deep breath, her hands steadying around the mug. I'll tell Lily later. She needs to rest. Emily's face grew dark, her voice low. There's more. They discovered indecent pictures of Lily on James's phone. Jessica's breath stopped, her shaking hands spilling nearly the coffee. Pictures. Her voice shook. When were they taken? The police did not say too much, but they were over months, Emily replied softly. Jessica's heart seethed with anger. James's love turning to dust. Remorse for her blindness and anger for his deceit ravaged her. Why did I not see it? She whispered, crying. I'm a counselor, I help kids every day. Families often miss it, especially with someone like James, Emily said, her voice steady. He was a respected man. No one suspected him. That afternoon, Detective Marcus Reed arrived at Emily's house. A tall, middle-aged man with a calm presence. He carried a notebook. Ms. Harper, he said, his voice professional but kind. We've started questioning James Harper. He's denying everything. Jessica's anger flared, her voice sharp. Denying? With Lily's testimony and those pictures. It's typical, Detective Reed replied in a smooth tone. But the proof is convincing. Lily's testimony, the pictures, texts on his phone. We're running DNA tests as well. Lily descended the stairs, her steps reluctant, her expression strained at seeing the detective. She sat beside Jessica, her fingers twisting. Dead. James, she whispered. He's been taken in, Jessica replied, grasping her hand. He won't be able to hurt you anymore. Detective Reed smiled at Lily, his voice warm. You're incredibly brave, Lily. Your courage will bring justice. Lily lifted her eyes, a faint spark returning to them, the first in months. What did James say? Jessica asked, her voice trembling. Detective Reed exhaled, his tone measured. It's early, but his behavior fits a controlling pattern. He used his role as stepfather to dominate Lily, feeding his need for power. A psychologist said he might have been jealous of Lily's biological father, Michael. As Lily came to resemble him, it might have prompted his behavior. Jessica shook, chunks of James's behavior falling into place. His attacks on Michael, his fixation on Lily's phone, his strict rules. What now? She demanded, her voice leveling out. File for a protection order and initiate divorce proceedings, Detective Reed said. Counseling for you and Lily is imperative. Jessica gazed at Lily, her heart heavy. What about the baby? Lily's eyes welled with tears, her voice trembling. I don't want it, Mom. Every day I'd think of him. Jessica embraced her tightly, her voice resolute. I'm here for you, Lily. I stand behind you. Detective Reed stood up, leaving them alone. I'll take a step out, he said, exiting with Emily. Alone, Jessica grasped Lily's hands, her voice gentle. Whatever you choose, I'm here. That evening, in Emily's kitchen, Jessica sat facing her friend. I don't want to go back to that house, she told her, her tone soft. Everything there is James. Stay here as long as you like, Emily replied, giving her hand a squeeze. You and Lily will get through this. Jessica's eyes sparkled with determination. We want a new beginning. It'll take some time, but we'll get through it together. Emily nodded, her tone soothing. You're a good mom, Jess. The trial will be tough, but you'll build a new life. On a chilly February morning, Jessica and Lily climbed the courthouse steps in Richmond. Today was James Harper's final sentencing. Ready? Jessica asked, squeezing Lily's hand. Lily nodded, her face stronger than it had been months ago. Since that day at the hospital, Lily had changed. Counseling, support groups, and her mother's unwavering love had helped her heal. In the courtroom, silence hung heavy. James was escorted in, his previously self-assured demeanor lost. His face gaunt, his eyes blank. He'd initially denied the allegations, but Lily's evidence, DNA evidence, and images from his phone were irrefutable. Following a plea bargain, he'd pleaded guilty, but Lily insisted on testifying nonetheless, hoping to encourage other victims. Defendant James Harper, said Judge Eleanor Hayes, her voice firm. You've entered pleas of guilty to sexual abuse of a child, possession of child pornography, and incest. Her gaze speared him. Your offenses have resulted in permanent damage to a child you were sworn to protect. This court imposes sentence upon you to 25 years in prison, with parole after 18 years. Jessica grasped Lily's shoulders, relief inundating them. A painful chapter ended. Outside, warm spring sunlight touched their faces. 3 weeks previously, they'd relocated to Cedarville, a small town 100 miles away. Jessica had found a counseling position in a local school, and Lily had begun at a new high school. Mom, Lily said, her voice firm. I want to address the support group about what occurred. Jessica stared at her, surprised, pride rising in her chest. That's courageous, Lily. Lily smiled weakly, a glimmer in her eyes. I want to assist others. Shut up, silence shields the abuser. Jessica hugged her back, her heart overflowing. The last year had been hell, but their love had become unbreakable. Jessica's mind turned to their new life as they walked to the car. Family was not about blood, it was about trust, love, and protection. The future wasn't going to be easy, but together they would weather it step by step. Thanks for watching this intense chapter of Revenza Tales, where bravery triumphs over the shadows. Subscribe, like, share with your squad, and comment your thoughts to keep the tales going. Truth, however bitter, is the beginning of healing and justice.